When it comes to Japanese animation, one director that cannot be overlooked is Hayao Miyazaki. Miyazaki is accredited with over 62 films. He has directed 38 of the 62. Miyazaki does not only storyboard all his films, but he also directs them. He is a master at animation when it comes to realism and storytelling through imagery. He has mastered this art of movement, in my opinion, when it comes to Japanese filmmaking. In films like The Castle in the Sky, My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, Porco Rosso, Spirited Away, and what is believed to be Miyazaki's last film, The Wind Rises. In this film, you could see how the wind is incorporated, like how the flames move. And even in this next clip from Castles in the Sky, look how the clothing blows in the wind. Everything is meticulously put there, such as movement and even how everything flows. Here we see Miyazaki animating his latest film, which came out in 2018, about a caterpillar named Boro. Boro the Caterpillar was Miyazaki's short film out of retirement, which he had done for the Ghibli Museum. You can tell when it comes to animation that Miyazaki focuses on his attention to the background, because it creates the world essentially and does not just rely on the characters themselves. Look how we could see so much into the background that brings the animation to life. Why this is interesting is because Miyazaki's storyboards are a way of writing a script instead of a pen to paper written script. I personally feel this helps Miyazaki envision not only what he wants to create as far as characters, but how he wants the scene to flow by creating a realistic environment. To quote Miyazaki, anime may depict fictional worlds, but nevertheless, I believe at its core it must have certain realism. Even if the world depicted is a lie, the trick is to make it seem as real as possible. What makes this type of movement possible is how hair moves, or even how everyday things move. Look at Kiki's hair move with the wind and how the grass flows the same way. He also incorporates everyday real-life things that we would typically see. For example, look in this scene at all the characters and the background and what they're doing. How are they acting? Why are they there? How do people go about their lives, and why do they seem as if they are their own person? Even here, you can see the facial expressions of the tourists. Each of them are put there for a reason. Even in all the flight scenes incorporated in Miyazaki's films, wind always plays an element. Even clouds are a big element and a part of a lot of Miyazaki's films. Along with having large, open, wide landscapes. This not only gives the viewer a break from the city, but it also can be relatable to looking off into a wide open area and imagining anything is possible. What is great about Miyazaki's work is how he does not draw random people into the background or even random landscapes. Nevertheless, what makes his films feel as if they have a personal touch is because Miyazaki incorporates ideas from his own life. A continuous theme throughout Miyazaki's film is flight. How flight is seen in multiple films from Miyazaki is how people are flying. For example, Kiki's broomstick and even airplanes are a perfect example. However, if it was not for his extreme mastery of movement and character detail in his overall world would not come to life. I feel they would remain in 2D art form and would not express as much motion on screen with Miyazaki's films. Personal opinion, this is because Miyazaki incorporates so much of himself not only into his animation, but also into his characters. In fact, in the scene of Spirited Away, you can see how each character has their own unique role in the spa and how they have their own personal touch. These characters become a part of us and we become a part of their world as well. Once again, Miyazaki typically draws all his animation by hand, which makes the process of animating a lot longer than using computer. In the words of Miyazaki, do everything by hand, even when using the computer. In my opinion, I feel this helps Miyazaki when it comes to adding attention to detail that he wants within the scene of his films. Besides, there are very few animators that still do their own storyboards by hand, which in my opinion I feel gives Miyazaki an advantage when it comes to storytelling and his overall detail to imagery. Not only does it show how his work has attention to detail, but it also shows how he incorporates so much of himself into his craft of animation. Ultimately, Miyazaki is one of the greatest animators within Japanese manga. He has a method of storytelling not only that allows the viewer to fall into the world, but become part of a glimpse of Miyazaki's life. Miyazaki's characters are not only strong and brave within each film, like The Wind Rises and Kiki's Delivery, out in the way that people run or walk and how the fire roars, that there is so much that you can see on screen. In addition, you could see how Miyazaki touches on the war, death, and living. It is these elements that humanize a lot of Miyazaki's films because he is not only willing not to give us a happy ending, because in reality, there are really no happy endings. Nevertheless, if Miyazaki's films were to be done in live action, I feel it would lessen the emotion that is shown in the amount of detail that he puts into his animation to create that emotion. In my personal experience when watching a Hayao Miyazaki film is that I could really appreciate his style of animation and storytelling and how he brings 2D to life. It could be seen that Miyazaki is so passionate about his craft that he came out of retirement to create 2 films right after he had created The Wind Rises. Miyazaki has changed the way Japanese animation has been looked at and will continue to inspire animators of all sorts. For me personally, and so many others, there is nothing like watching a Miyazaki film for the first time, and even watching one over and over again.